Hi, welcome. It's Nik and Adinah. And
Get your point wrong. Yeah.
I said Nik and Adinah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. We're here and we're going to do a quick series. Well, probably not going to be quick. It's quite a ways, but we're doing a series on Edgar Rich's book, Love and Respect. Mm-hmm. And so this is a really exciting series because honestly, this series is foundational for a marriage. I read the book back, I think, in 2003 or 4. I read it a long time ago. And it really changed, I think, our marriage after I read that because I realized that men need respect and women absolutely have to have that love. We need that love. And so it was so important that I totally understand that. So that's what we're going to do is we're going to do an intro and then we're going to start with chapter 1. And we're basically going to talk about everything from the workbook. And this is the workbook right here. And so we're just going to go through the series. And so we're excited about this new series. And I hope you guys enjoy it and give us a thumbs up if you like it. If not, give us some feedback. We'd love to have it.
Yeah. Also, what you find if you don't have this book or the workbook, we'll link to it down in the comments. That way, if you do want to purchase it and follow along, you can have what we're utilizing. So we're going to start here on chapter 1 as far as love and respect.
Real quick, it's going to be important if you click the link below because there are so many different books in the series. So we want to make sure you get the right one.
That's a good point.
So you can follow along with us.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, kick us off, baby.
So we're going to talk, first of all, with love and respect. And that comes from a Bible verse, Ephesians 5:33. Mm-hmm. And do you have the Bible verse there or do I have it?
Let's see here. I don't have the verse written now, but if I recall correctly, what it says is that women are to love their husbands. Rewind. Husbands are to love their wives, and wives
loved his church.
As Christ loved the church, and wives are to respect their husbands.
Absolutely, respect, and that's the whole premise of the verse: love and respect. And I definitely had it written down last week, but
yeah, and I think one of the biggest parts to think about is that why is it that men are, commanded to love and women are commanded to give respect?
Excuse me.
Because I would think that if it's something that you are going to do without being prompted, there's no need to command someone. Like, for instance, I can't look at you and say, hey, breathe.
No
real need for me to say, hey, you need to breathe because that's something that you're going to do. But if I tell her something like, hey, go make me a steak with some potatoes, maybe that's a command. So the thing is that it's called out for a reason and for a purpose because it needs to be basically top of mind for us as husbands to love our wives because I believe that's something that we aren't typically really wired to do. Mm-hmm. And also, if we think about women or our ladies as far as respect and how they're being commanded to do that because there's a need within husbands to be respected and wives to be loved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because women automatically, God created us to love. And so I know when Edgar Rich was talking, he was saying that he would ask men all the time, does your wife love you? And they would say, yes, absolutely, she loves me. Well, does she like you? No, she doesn't like me right now. Mm-hmm. Because they knew they had the love, and women are just designed to love, and that's just innate in us.
That's right. And probably one of the biggest things or one of the biggest concepts within chapter 1 is the crazy cycle. And the crazy cycle is basically doing something over and over again, expecting a different result as far as how we interact and communicate with our spouses. Well, if we're doing something and it's not working, yet we continue to do it again, it is crazy.
Yeah.
So.
He gives the example if someone turns on the light switch and it doesn't come on, you may flip it once or twice or maybe even a third time, but you're not going to stand there for 30 minutes and continue to flip that light switch. You're going to stop and go and figure out what's the problem or what's happening, why the light switch won't come on. And that's what he's saying as far as the crazy cycle. Don't continue in the crazy cycle. And the crazy cycle is a gentleman acts unloving toward his wife. She acts disrespectful toward him. He continues to act unloving. She acts disrespectful, unloving, disrespectful, and it just goes in a circle. It just continues, unfortunately. And that is a crazy cycle. I'll show you a quick picture of the crazy cycle and how it looks. And it's basically how it's described, a big circle where, we continue to do that. And oftentimes we go over and over with the crazy cycle. We go over and over in our marriages, and we don't know how to stop it. We don't know how to say, hey, this is not going anywhere. Let's not do this. Let's not continue to fight. Let's take a break. And so there it is. The crazy cycle right there.
So there are a couple questions that are asked by the author. And one of the first things is he makes a reference to the old Beatles song, All You Need Is Love. And love is important, but that's only half the equation when it comes to a man and a woman.
Yeah, it's not enough.
You need to have that respect component. Now, some individuals may say, okay, as a woman, I desire to be respected. So why is it so important for him to be respected? And he also makes the comparison between water and food, how we all need water and food. But the thing is that we can go without eating for a certain amount of time, but we need water more than food. It just depends on how you're built. So when it comes to men, they just request and require more respect than love.
Absolutely. So with question 1, let's go on and get with the question 1 in the first chapter. And the viewpoint of a spouse, what do these statements say to you? And for me, I think it is vital for a man to have the respect of his wife because that's so important. As Edgar Rich was talking about, it is so important for a wife to respect her husband. And it is so important for a spouse to give love. And it's so crazy because we have different ways that we interact with people and individuals. Whereas I would act differently with a woman than I would with a guy. And you act differently with guys than you do with women. And I think so often as women, we get it. The first time a friend or another lady talks to us about an issue or shares something with us, we totally get it. Same thing with you guys. You guys have that respect and that camaraderie, and it's so important that many times that we help each other to understand the difference. That it's not wrong, but it's so important that I appreciate your differences and I give you that respect that you so desperately need.
Yeah. When you think about men, and this is what I tell a lot of young men, typically when there are disagreements between men, it ultimately boils down to one thing. They'll say, I was disrespected.
Right.
And it's amazing that if you take love completely out of the equation, if you just focus on male-to-male interactions, that's usually the biggest point of contention, which is disrespect. So just saying that, it shows that it's important for a man to have that, because if that was not the case, you usually don't hear a disagreement between another guy like, hey, he don't love me. In most cases, I mean, if you have a father, maybe you can have that type of disagreement or whatever.
Right.
But between man to man, usually it's disrespect. So that's why it's so core for us to understand, because in our relationships, those conflicts between the husband and wife basically stems from that as well, disrespect.
Yeah, and he talked about that, whereas the respectful thing for men, because when men get into a disagreement and the whole disrespect, the respectful thing for them to do is to walk away. Whereas when you walk away from your wife and you've had a disagreement, that's totally disrespectful to her, and it feels unloving that you are stonewalling or you walking away. But what he was saying was, for men, that is key. That shows I care about you and I respect you, so therefore I'm going to walk away, because if not, then we'd have to kill each other.
Yeah. Even in that interaction, still in that type of conflict, somebody still has to take the high road.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be willing to step out of the crazy cycle between me and this other guy.
Yeah.
And cooler heads have to prevail.
Right. That's important to understand that. And he also talked about a research study, whereas he asked men, and pretty much 10 times out of 10, they said they'd rather be respected than loved. They just really didn't concern them about love. They needed love, but it was more important to them they were respected. So it really hurts your spouse, it hurts your husband when you don't show him that respect. It just really hurts him at the core. And for ladies, it hurts us at the core when we feel unloved. And so that's just a hard place to be. Do you want to talk about Genesis 3:16?
Yes, Genesis 3:16. We talk about Genesis 3:16. Typically, we think of Genesis 3:16 when it comes to the curse that was put on men and women, as far as men having to work and till the land, and ladies where it comes to having pains in childbirth. But also the latter portion of that speaks to a woman's desire being to rule over her husband. And I think oftentimes that part is overlooked because the first part talks about the pains in childbirth, and most people can identify with that. But if we would look at the option or the portion where they talk about desiring to rule over your husband, is that conflict that you're always dealing with. So basically they're saying that, okay, even though, man, you are being placed as the head of your family and you are to lead them, I'm going to instill in a wife to want to run it. So just at that particular point is friction there. So that's why it's so difficult, since that desire is placed in a woman, for her to oftentimes have to respect them, because if there are certain things that are going on, a woman may not want to respect her husband, because she feels as though there's things that he's not doing, whether he's not providing, he's not leading, he's not loving. They find it hard to be able to respect him.
And honestly, when I first read this book back in the early 2000s, that's what really resonated with me. That helped me to understand the whole Genesis 3:16, the whole love and respect dynamic. That's what helped me to understand that I would want to rule over you. And that's not my job. That's not my role, because it comes right back and says, well, the wife would want to rule over the husband, but the husband's job is to rule over the wife, and the wife is to submit. So I think that was so important for me to get and grasp and understand. And I really believe that changed the whole dynamic of our relationship when I understood that it wasn't my job to tell you what to do. It wasn't my job to rule over you, but I would have that desire.
Right.
Because of the curse.
Right. And also, once again, we have to be mindful of the order of marriage and what God desires for us to have. And that's why there is so many friction points. As I said before, I know I said it again, but that's what happens when certain needs are not met and certain things happen, and we decide to walk inside this crazy cycle. But there's also something else in that chapter they make reference to, and those are the little foxes. And I don't know, we're going to talk about those now or later.
Yeah, let's talk about them now.
Okay.
Little foxes, little things.
Yeah, little things. Like, for instance, in the book, excuse me, they talk about things like peppering eggs.
Yes.
That's considered a little fox. There's a disagreement about the denim jacket or the jean jacket. That's a little fox. And so technically, what is a little fox? Like you said before, it's those little things. It's those minute things that cause probably disproportionate reactions to what the little thing is. So say, for instance, if you don't, in the book, his wife liked to pepper the eggs when they were cooked. He didn't like the pepper.
Yeah, it's automatic though.
So he would get irritated by that. And so if he really wanted to, they could literally get caught up in this crazy cycle where he would feel disrespected by her constantly peppering the eggs. She'll feel like, hey, I am cooking for him, trying to show him this is basically a way for me to show him love, but he's not reciprocating. So it's just this crazy cycle that will go on. But at some particular point, he decided, you know what? I'm not going to go on this crazy cycle over these peppered eggs. I'm going to step away. I'm not going to allow this little fox to derail my relationship.
And I'm going to have cereal.
There you go, cereal.
Because I don't like pepper with my eggs. Okay, let's go to question number 4. I see the crazy cycle starting when? So, and it's so important as a husband and wife to ask themselves, when do you see the crazy cycle happening in your marriage? Because it happens with all of us, and it's unfortunate, but it does. And it says, when my spouse appears unreasonable, when I appear unreasonable, when my spouse doesn't make sense, I don't make sense, my spouse is harsh or critical, I am harsh or critical, my spouse is inconsiderate or I'm inconsiderate. And so when we argue about in-laws, sex, money, or that's another question, and my spouse won't talk, I won't talk. So you have to ask yourself, when during those times do we have issues that come up that's a crazy cycle? What do you think? What do you answer for that one?
What question was that?
Number 4.
Number 4. Let's see.
And it
Look at my
also says
cheat
when
sheet
I
here.
talk too much.
See, when this happens, it's difficult for me to love my spouse. So the thing that happens here is it is difficult for me to love you because
When what happens?
when what happens,
Are you answering the question?
yes, I am. What I'm answering, probably, and I'm happy to say that there are many of these little foxes either that we've addressed or we have learned to deal with.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, certain behaviors you just cannot. I mean, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
So one thing I would say is probably the crazy cycle and probably being on time. Our one friend, I don't like being late to things.
No.
And Adinah's okay with being fashionably late. So
Because if you're not late, then you're part of the setup crew.
no, okay. So that's the reason she don't want to be the setup crew. So apparently that's what it is. So thank you for bringing that. So I've learned that if I'm not mindful when it comes to getting to places on time, that the crazy cycle can start because wherever we're going.
That's not fair. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's not fair.
And also, crazy cycle when I get interrupted.
But I get to work on time.
You work from home, don't you?
When I had to go to work, I would get there on time.
So are you saying that when you choose to get there on time, you can?
No. Yes, I guess so.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Are you trying to get me in a crazy cycle?
Oh, there you go. Now, one thing I will say in regards to the crazy cycle is that, say, for instance, you're not in tune right now to know when you're getting ready to get on the on-ramp to the crazy cycle.
Right.
I think it's also important to understand when you are in the crazy cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think when I'm in the crazy cycle, or when anybody's in a crazy cycle, I think there's certain behaviors that you'll observe. For instance, I'm sure there's going to be frustration.
Yeah.
Probably, you're going to be extremely emotional.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
I should put this one right here. The book is.
Yeah.
So they can know what we're doing.
Well, look at you. Also, I get the crazy cycle when you get easily distracted.
I'm sorry. Now, there you go.
Oh, see, there you go. See, and I'm not taking that out. I'm not editing any of that out.
Don't edit. Leave it.
It is. So I think it's important to understand when you're in the crazy cycle.
Yeah.
And then understand. And sometimes you have to walk back. Okay, I'm in the crazy cycle. Okay, I'm sitting here. We're going back and forth. We're not speaking. We're not talking. We're not having a good time. Try to figure out, if you can, what was the triggering event to get you in this.
Yeah.
Okay. And now next time or next chapter, we're going to talk about sometimes the issue isn't the issue.
Yeah.
So, but at least for now, go back, try to figure out what happened. Why am I here? Why do I feel this way?
And
how
why
can
do
I get
I
off
feel
of it?
unloved or disrespected?
Yes, ma'am. So that's an important thing. So as far as crazy cycle for me, like I said before, that's how I feel when I see it coming. You just really have to, and also your body can tell you as well. Even though I was talking about, you have knots in your stomach.
Heart
palpitations, the hairs on the back of your neck will stand up. So just things like that,
I wrote, when we're busy and tired and haven't spent a lot of time together, that's when we usually can get into the crazy cycle.
Yeah, and I can be guilty of that sometimes because I probably work too much.
Yeah.
All right, so which question you want to talk about next?
Okay, so the next question, it talks about in question number 8 to read the I forgot her birthday story on page 12. And that was a funny one because Egerich was talking about he and his wife Sarah and how he basically forgot her birthday. And it's so funny for this one, she just really wanted to see if he was going to remember her birthday, because I think as women sometimes we equate things like that with love. Mm-hmm. And that's really not, I don't know if that's fair, because sometimes people are moving along with their life and they don't quite remember things. I didn't remember your birthday for a while.
Yes, that's true.
And we have been together, I want to say 10 years.
Yeah.
And so I think it just happens. I really do. I don't think it's on purpose, but she removed everything that had anything to do with her birthday, and he was going right along. And then her birthday came along, and he went to lunch with a friend of his, and she goes, "Oh, well, did y'all celebrate my birthday?" And he felt really bad about that. And I'm sure she felt unloved. But
Yeah. But also, I feel like when it comes, and we'll talk more about communication and filters and stuff like that in the next chapter. But I always feel like when it comes to words or talking, that man, it's almost comparison like men are slow cookers and women are microwaves.
yeah.
They can be quick with it, and they'll come, and they can be very precise with it. And I'm sure as he sat there, he was probably sitting there, stumbling and bumbling, trying to say something in return. And with her, they like, "Hey, did you enjoy celebrating my birthday?"
Well, you can't say anything then when you've forgotten your spouse's birthday. Or your anniversary. That's another one.
Yeah, and something we'll talk about in the next chapter too. So you just really want to make sure that oftentimes, I really think most of the times it's not even through deeds where a man feels disrespected. Most times it's through words.
Yeah.
From a wife.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, and we already talked about the little foxes, but that's on question number 10 when it talks about identify some of the little foxes in your marriage. We've already talked about my tardiness, and then it doesn't help now that we have a daughter who is just as late as I am.
Yeah, she don't want to be early to the party either. But I will say this: we have to really be mindful of what we want to, what's worth fighting over.
Yeah.
So, what I have come to a realization of, is that okay, we all have positives and negatives that make us up.
Right.
Assets, liabilities, whatever you want to call it, as far as who make up who we are. And I feel as though me dealing with being tardy every now and then is worth what I get on the other side of having a very supportive and loving wife.
I'm gonna remember you said that.
I mean, I'm be happy with it, but I mean, it's worth it. And I will not choose to be on time everywhere, but have somebody who did not, respect me or was not supportive of me. So that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's a good trade-off. Mm-hmm. But let's go to question number 13. And question number 13 is in talking again to make sure you follow Egerich's reasoning as far as the crazy cycle. And it relates to how he did not totally understand the love and respect connection until God guided him to see the connection. And so the question is, I can love my wife by. So that's the first question, and that is the guy's question. So what did you write as far as how you can love me by what?
Making sure that I try to carve out time to, just be me and you.
Yeah.
I think that's the best time. Like, for instance, I'm taking time off next week. Yes, and we're not going out of town or just, why. In another video, we talk about dating and planning and being mindful of that stuff. I'm just taking a day off so we can just go out and play hooky and, do some stuff.
That's one of those day dates you like.
A day
so
date,
much.
yes. I'm a fan of day dates, especially when the kids are at school. Hopefully, they won't get any tummy aches or nothing like that while you're trying to orchestrate your day date. But yeah, so once we drop them off, we are in the wind.
Hanging out.
We're hanging out.
Well, we got some business to take care of, and then we'll hang out.
Yeah, a little bit of business.
A little bit.
Yeah,
okay.
So we'll do that. So that's my thing. I have to be more purposeful and making sure that I carve out that time.
Yeah.
Even though, it's wired in me to try to provide, but at the same time, I have to
Not try to provide. To
provide.
Yeah.
It's wired in me to provide, but at the same time, it's important for you to feel loved, and I know that's something that you value, so I have to do that.
And I wrote, I can respect my husband when I talk to him. And I think that's important because a lot of times we can get a tone in how we talk to individuals or each other or our spouses. And it's so important that we don't take a disrespectful tone when we talk to each other. And so that was one thing that I wrote on question number 13.
And everybody's going to be different, as far as, how that person conveys, love and understands love. So that's extremely important for you to understand. And because we're going to talk about next chapter, also talking about deciphering the communications.
And I'm done. It talks about meditating on scripture, and the scripture meditations that it talks about is Ecclesiastes 9:9. So that's a good one to look up. And when a husband wants to throw in his hands in defeat. And then also Ecclesiastes 7:25. evil or folly and foolishness of madness.
Yep. So you definitely want to do that. And there are a couple other aspects and that we'll definitely get into as we go through the series, as far as some tools and things like that to be able to break out of the crazy cycle as well. But I think as far as what the author was trying to convey here in this first chapter was understanding what the crazy cycle was, the importance of love for our wives and respect for husbands, and recognizing that there are options. I think there are some individuals out there that feel like, this is just normal. No, it's not normal.
It's not normal.
You can have a peaceful, loving marriage. Now, will you not have bumps in the road? Yeah.
You're human.
Yeah, the thing is that there should not be more bumps than straight ways in your relationship. So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind. So I think that brings us to the end of this one.
That does, and I'll show the book one more time.
Yeah.
Since I can't put it on my stand.
You can't. She's over here breaking stuff and throwing it around. So what we'll do is, like I said, we'll link to it down below in the comments. Also, please feel free to go and share your thoughts around chapter 1 down there. What takeaways did you have? What things put you in the crazy cycle? Also, if you like this video, make sure to like it. If you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Also, we have our social media down in the comments as well. So please feel free to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. I think that is it.
Yeah.
Anything else? So this is Nik and Adinah Johnson signing off.
Who's Nick?
Who?
Who is Nick?
It's me. That's me.
Because I always point.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah, I was pointing under the table. So with that being said, take care of yourself and keep loving one another.
Yeah.
Take care.
Peace.
Peace?